Barry, second week of fight camp complete, headlined by Terri Harper against Natasha Jonas. What an incredible fight that was.
It was fantastic. Well, I didn't expect that sort of fight at all, to be honest. I thought that Harper was going to maybe dictate things longer and it was going to be up for Jonas to close the gap, but it wasn't. So she went right at Jonas, and Jonas was more than happy to just tuck up and throw some lovely hooks and uppercuts, and yeah, and I thought she did enough, to be honest.
I was going to say, how did you score it at home?
Yeah, it's different when you're scoring at Togo. You're scoring casually, but I thought Jonas won by a cut of wrongs. That's how I had it, and I think, you know, I don't think it was a robbery, but it's one of those fights where you just feel someone was hard done by, and I think I just felt Jonas was hard done by. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's how you feel. I thought that, you know, she did the better work inside. I know sometimes work inside don't always get the credit that it deserves, but I thought it was clear work. And I thought that some of the work that Harper did at times was a little bit smothered, and yeah. But either way, we were treated to a spectacle of skill, and not quite a war of attrition, but it was tough. They had to tough it out, and it was a great advertisement, not for women's boxing, but just for boxing in general. It was a thoroughly enjoyable fight. It was what you wanted in a world title fight, a little bit of everything. Did
you think Natasha Jonas had that performance in her locker?
No, I didn't, to be honest. Because she'd never had to show it, that's why. I didn't think that she was shot, that's for sure, because I'd seen her after the defeat. I'd worked in some of the fights after, and she looked really fresh and good. But the composure, I thought that if she was rushed, that what Harper did, that she would lose her composure a little bit, and she never, and that's what I was surprised at. She looked so focused, nothing bothered her. Even when she got caught with a few shots, she stayed nice and calm, kept the shape. And we talk about prospects keeping the shape. It's important to keep your shape. And that is because when you get to world level, it's really important to keep your shape. And that's what she did. The elbows never flayed up once. She was inside. She was always the first one to work. She was always the last one to respond as well, you know, out of the clinches. I thought she was fantastic.
The rematch seems inevitable, but do you think Jonas has missed her opportunity? She's 36, Terri Harper's 23.
I don't think the age is really too much of a factor as such. I just think that Harper could perform better. If Jonas allows her to, of course. She's never here. I just think she made more mistakes than Jonas did, so that means she can work on more stuff. I don't think Jonas made many mistakes, so you tend to think that was almost not a flawless performance, but it was her best, and maybe one of the best she can produce. But I didn't think she had that sort of performance in it. Even if she would have won, I didn't think it would be as well as she boxed. So maybe she can do better, but you would tend to think that Harper could do better. But still, Jonas could still win. I think Jonas has shown now that maybe she might have Terri Harper's number, which I never thought before. I've got to be honest, I thought Harper was going to win, you know, quite wide, and I was wrong.
Katie Taylor headlines this very arena in a couple of weeks. What a time for women's boxing.
It's fantastic. And I think the most important thing about women's boxing is not just to have women fighting and on TV, it's the fights need to be competitive. That was the whole problem before, that fights were, you had one good fighter and a load of poor fighters. But inevitably, over time, you know, the quality gets better. You know, the infrastructure and the amateurs coming up, and now we're having quality against quality. And it's good styles, like Bassoon and Taylor. It's just the perfect style you want for any fight. Man, women, don't matter who they are. That's the perfect set of styles. But that's going to make it, hopefully, another. If it's half as good as the first fight, it's one of the best fights of the year.
On the undercard, Billam-Smith was just too much for Nathan Thorley. What did you make of that fight?
Yeah, it looked like Nathan froze, but I don't think he did. I think Billam-Smith just went out there, you know, as the champion, and just, you know, put it right on him, bossed it from David, planted his foot in the front centre of the ring, you know, bossed him with a jab, made him feel the power quite early. And I think Thorley then was just a little bit tentative to engage. And when you're thinking about, shall I engage, your attacks are half-hearted and he got caught. And once that little hook inside just shows maybe that he's not maybe a natural cruiserweight, because it was on the temple, of course, but he couldn't really generate much power from that. But Thorley's brave, but maybe, you know, maybe he needs to just, he'll come again. But I think Billam-Smith, for me, I think he's a fight now that you can move on. I think he showed real maturity in his last few fights, and that one again, he just took a guy who he thought he was better than, and he bossed it straight away.
You talk of Billam-Smith moving on. There was talk of a European title challenge next against the likes of Tommy McCarthy for the vacant belt. Do you think that's a good option?
But he's at that level, isn't he? Tommy McCarthy, Riakporhe again, you'd like to see that. It wasn't the greatest fight to watch, but I mean, for evenness in ability, so I think that's the fight you want to see again. Tommy McCarthy's, even though it's a European title shot, they're still at the same level. So I think that's where you're at, that's where you're looking for. There's other fighters around, Dion Juma, there's loads. every weight now is like this in Britain. We've almost never had it so good, I don't feel. And I think that, so British level is sort of European level anyway, so he's at that level.
On the undercard, Anthony Fowler was just too much for Adam Harper. Should Adam Harper's corner have pulled him out, do you think?
I think so, but they know their fighter better than we do, of course. And the problem you have, when you have a guy who's got such a good chin and so tough like Harper, you always want to give him more opportunities than you would someone else who maybe doesn't like the battle. But the fact that he won't win any rounds and he didn't have the power to hurt Fowler or even keep Fowler off, I thought it would have been enough. But Fowler was good, nice and composed, didn't rush his work. I think he maybe could have got him out there earlier. If he would have rushed it, then he would have made loads of mistakes. I think he was smart and tidy with his work. I think that was, yeah, I thought it was a good display by Fowler. He boxed a guy a little bit below the level that he's boxed at and dominated like he should do. And he can go back in now in this again, that division, I say it every division, I keep saying the same thing, but that division is stacked domestically, it really is. Forget about the top ones we got with Brook and Billam-Smith. All the rest of them, it's really competitive, and they can have a Super 6 or Super 8 tournament of their own.
You talk about that domestic division for Anthony Fowler. Where do you think he fits in that division?
It's difficult because I can see him hurting everyone, but I can see him being outboxed by a lot of people as well. I think Cheeseman, I'd probably favour Cheeseman. I might even favour Egginton maybe, because Egginton can be hit. But I think Fowler's sometimes a little bit slow in some of his work. But he showed improvements the other night. I think, but yeah, my worry with Fowler, I don't know why I have that worry, is that he takes a good shot, but I don't know how his mental state is if he's being totally outboxed. If he comes against someone like that, if someone can totally outbox him, how will he fare there? Someone who's a really good mover, clever inside, but he's in the mix, and when you have that raw strength that he has, and the attributes of those long arms to get inside, then he's always going to be a threat.
His trainer Shane McGuigan talked up a European title challenge. Is talk of that premature?
No, again, I think our domestic sort of level is sort of close to European title. I think the champion is Garcia still the champion, and I think that's a hard fight for him stylistically. Because again, just a couple of things I just said about he might struggle with a clever mover who can twist and turn, so he might struggle with that. But I think because domestic level so high quality now, that they're almost at that level anyway. So I wouldn't be afraid to chuck him in. I wouldn't start him as a favourite, of course, but I think he's in with a shot just because of the strength alone.
Next week, Felix Cash puts his Commonwealth title on the line against Jason Walborn. How do you see that fight playing out?
I would say it's a coming of age fight, but for Cash, but I think he's had that with Cullen. I think it might just be perfect timing, where Welborn is tough and can give you an argument, and he will try his best. But I like everything about Cash, and I think his last fight against Cullen, where he had more difficulties and not a lot of things worked for him at times, was what sold him to me as a potential champion, because I just think higher than the Commonwealth, because I just think that he just stuck to his task, adapted on the move. He does a lot of good stuff. Got fast hands, good feet, hits hard. I think his movement's pretty good. He can fight a bit inside, can tough it out, takes a good shot. So all those things added up. I can't see about Welborn, who started as a welterweight and now is boxing at middleweight. And that's a lot of that to do with age. Even though he's been in with some tough, hard guys and persevered, at this stage of his career, I don't know whether he's got that fire to really put it on Cash. I can see Cash boxing an actually flawless performance, really, against a guy who's going to chase him down but not be able to catch him.